Your Name is a 2016 Japanese animated romantic fantasy drama film written and directed by Makoto Shinkai and produced by Comics Wave Films with music composed by Radwimps, and it tells the story of Taki, a high school boy in Tokyo, and Mitsuha, a high school girl in a rural town, who suddenly begin to swap bodies with one another, and the two of them have to try and work with each other to try and figure out why this is all happening. And yeah, and being distributed by Toho, it premiered at the Anime Expo 2016 convention in LA, California on July the 3rd, 2016, and in Japan on August 26, 2016. And it was critically acclaimed for its animation, complex narrative, musical score, and emotional weight. The film was also a major commercial success with a total gross of $359 million, becoming the highest grossing anime film and Japanese film of all time, and the fourth highest grossing film of all time in Japan, the ninth highest grossing traditional animated film, and the 16th highest grossing non-English film worldwide. The film won the Best Animated Feature at the 49th Sitges Film Festival, the 2016 LA Film Critics Association Awards, and the 71 Manichi Film Awards, as well as receiving a nomination for the 40th Japan Academy Prize for Best Animation of the Year. And an American live action remake is set in development for the US. Ugh, what's the point? What is the point there? So yeah, this film really did do really well. It outperformed Spirited Away. It's now the highest grossing anime film of all time, and many critics and audiences have continually given this film just stellar praise out of stellar praise. Two notable directors, John Musker and Ron Clements, who you know from the Disney films such as Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, and Princess and the Frog, as well as Moana, praised the heck out of this film for its beauty and uniqueness. And yeah, what do I think of this film? Well, I watched this film like 3 times now. I've seen this film 3 times. I've watched it the first and second time I watched it in Japanese, and the third time, which was just pretty much now, we rewatched it in English dubbing. And I liked it originally. I thought it was okay, but again, I kind of was a little bit like, I wasn't really focusing watching it, you know, like, I guess the situation when I was watching it, I just wasn't really paying attention to the screen. But giving it another rewatch, I've finally come around to really loving this film and its beauty and uniqueness. Let's go into the positive of this film, and the positive is the 2 leads, Taiki and Mitsuha, and I just love those 2 characters. I like their personalities, and they actually feel like real people, because sometimes when you watch an anime, they do tend to over stylize these characters, and they give these weird personalities for these characters that just feel kind of out there. But at least with these people, like, everyone in this film feels like a real human being, and a lot of people just feel really grounded. Even the way they're drawn and the characters, they feel real. I watched it in Japanese originally, and I love the 2 actors who voiced them in Japanese, particularly the voice actor of Mitsuha in Japanese, Mono Kamarashi. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name, so you're gonna have, I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, I actually thought the English dubbers did a really good job. Michael Sinterklaas and Stephanie Shee, who voiced both the main characters, did a pretty damn good job, you know, like, I really did like them. Sometimes the acting did get a little bit too over dramatic and a little bit over the top, but then when you really watch it in Japanese and you read the subtitles, you're like, yes, there are moments where the script does get a little bit, you know, out there. It's a little bit dramatic and over the top sometimes, but I think that's the beauty of it. I do like that wholeness of it, you know. I just love the way this director has just directed certain shots in this film. Like, you get a lot of like really cool landscape, like really realistic. The buildings just shine and they feel so real. But I like how even though these are anime looking characters and they do look very toony, they fit in the world. Like the way the characters are shaded and they're composited in the scenes, they feel like they're actually in it. When you look at some other animated films and TV shows, like sometimes the characters would look very, especially with these digital films like and TV shows, like they don't always look like they're part of the scene, but with this film it really does feel that way. There's a lot of good shadow and just good lighting. Like there's this awesome time lapse of like showing Tokyo and it's go from evening to morning and it's just so cool and I flipping love it. I also love like the contrast between the village and like Tokyo. It's just really cool and I flipping love it. It's just beautiful just looking at it. All the other characters are all so cool and just unique and just wonderful, and they all got interesting personalities and each have got interesting looking character designs. Just also lovely. The flipping soundtrack is also really amazing. I absolutely love the little theme song they had in the beginning. It kind of is paying homage to like many anime, having theme songs in the beginning. I flipping love that. Even though they did kind of spoil it in that little opening, like we do see what's gonna happen in the plot, but I thought it was all done for purpose. I love how when the characters like go into each other's bodies, like how they interact with, the other person's friends and family, and how they're reacting to them being a different person, but they're not telling them because no one's gonna believe them. It's impossible. You'd think you're a loon. I like how it has that grounded realism. And like the characters think they're dreaming, but then they end up realizing that it's actually happening, and then they're like panicking and they have to like figure out how to do it. And yeah, I really did like it. I do like the Japanese voices. I think they do a good job, and there's certain little like moments where it does work in Japanese, but I have to give it to the English dubbing. They did a damn good job. They did a flipping good job. Like all the voices felt really great. Really great, really stellar performances, and I love the comedy in English a little bit more. I thought it was a bit funny at times because when you're reading it in English with the Japanese language, like sometimes you read the comedy punchline before you hear it, and I think when you hear it in English in your own language, it comes across more funnier because it's more of a surprise hearing it because you don't expect them to say it in a way. And also like not having the subtitles and just kind of looking back at the visuals was really great because I watched this film twice, once at home on a tiny 24-inch monitor and then the other time at uni on this big ass projector, but I watched it in subtitles and it was the first time watching it in dub at home on my TV, seeing like the visuals, because there are a lot of moments in the film where I kind of didn't see like little moments and little like visual cues. Really cool, really great, flipping love it. Normally anime films do have this weird way of telling a story where the story will always start off really like slow, then in the middle section it will start picking up, and then they will just rush the ending and it would not make any sense. But this film had a really good start, middle and end. Everything felt really nice and natural and just flowed really well. My only criticism for this film is that the middle section does kind of drag on a little bit. It's a small part, but it does drag on a little bit, but it's a little nitpick right there. Like the entire film is just fabulous throughout, absolutely great. It's too early to say it's Makoto Shinkai the new Miyazaki, because both directors do things very differently and they both have unique looks and styles to it. I haven't seen all of his films yet. This film and Weathering With You are the only ones I've really seen. I really liked Weathering With You and this film as well. Like they're both flipping amazing. again, like just certain things they do, like the clouds and the comet and like raindrops and tears, just look flipping great and fluid. And wow, for an anime film, it has a lot of fluid looking animation. Like there are a lot of the mainstream shows, the animation is very limited and it has very restricted animation, but this film, like there are scenes when the characters are moving and it just has that motion, like particularly the main female character Mitsuha. Like there's a scene where she's running to the high school and it looks really fluid, like the motion and the timing all look really great, and flipping love it. Like this film gets all the praise and just everything, it gets every praise and all the wonderfulness it deserves. Go and buy the DVD, support the industry, don't torrent, it's naughty, and it's basically a big F you to the film directors and the makers of this film who spent so many years making this film. And yeah, it's a wonderful film. I'm going to give this film I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10. I'm going to give it an A. It was a pretty stellar film. I don't know if I prefer Weathering with You over this one. Nah, I think this one was a bit better. It's just so cool. I love the whole body swap and time travel stuff and all that lot. It's just so fun and enjoyable. I won't really spoil it because there's just too much coolness to get out of it. I know it's been out for 4 years, but go and watch it now. Rewatch it. Relive the fantasy. Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video. Comment down below. Tell me what's your favorite Makoto Shinkai flick. With that said, thank you for watching. As always, a Overrated review signing out.